Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, so today I want to review some article is explain about one of the best classical musician in the world, and even though who the people will not like well serve in the classical music, it might be familiar with this figure. His name is Beethoven, and I have my note in my laptop right now. On my laptop right now, you guys can see it all about him. And I want to tell you, and I want to explain about him. Okay, let's go to the material. First, his full name is Ludwig van Beethoven, and he's a German pianist, composer, and considered greatest musical genius all the time. There is some fact that interesting fact actually to discussing, starting with his birth. Um, he actually born on December 16, 1770 is in the city of Bonn in the electorate of Cologne, part of the Holy Roman Empire at the time. But however, there is no uncertainty about his actual birth certificate. So, but he was a Baptist on December 17, 1770, which I find is intriguing because the birth and the baptism occurring on the same day. It is a rare occurrence, and in those time, custom and laws dictated that a baby had to baptize within 24 hours of birth. So it's highly likely that he actually birth was around like December 16th. Okay, next I will discuss about Beethoven family background. He had a two surviving younger brother. His name Casper and Johann. His mother is Maria Magdalena Van Beethoven. Was described as a moral, polite, and kind person. And his father, Johann van Beethoven, was a regular court singer, and his grandfather, Kapellmeister Ludwig van Beethoven, who was the most prosperous and prominent musician in Bonn. This was a source of the great pride for young Beethoven. Of course, from the family background, it can be inferred that his blood of the musician was already flowing with him. Starting from his mother womb. Although his father was just a regular court, but his grandfather was highly successful musician that time. And when Beethoven was a child and began to show the interest to music, it was his father who first taught him, and this has influenced him throughout his career in his life. But it is known that his neighbor often heard the young boys crying while playing instrument clarinet. He would also stand on one leg to reach the key, and his father would often beat him a daily or like for any mistake. And or doubt he had while playing this instrument instrument. And also Beethoven almost every day was whip conflict with a sailor and denied sleep for hour night during his practice. He also learned to play violin and clavier with his father and took additional lesson from the organization in that city. Despite his father's harsh and brutal method, Beethoven had extraordinary talent in music. As for as for his education, Beethoven was recognized by famous musician of the time, Wolfgang Mozart. Mozart has arranged a debut performance for Beethoven on March 26, 1778, when Beethoven was just turned 8 years old. The reason his father was so eager for his son to get on stage at such an early age was because Wolfgang Mozart himself had started performing for Empress Maria Theresia at the same age. Although Beethoven was actually 7 years old all the time, he played impressively and showed no sign of pressure during the performance. He also briefly attended a Latin elementary school called Tirocinium, but he left at the age 10 to focus on the music full time. Under the guidance of the Christian Gottlob Neff, Beethoven dedicated himself to music. At the age of 12, Beethoven published his first composition as a series of a piano variation on the theme by an unknown classical composer named Dressler. So the foundation for a Beethoven musical career was laid in his family musical heritage. His early exposure to music and his expressional talent, despite the harsh training method imposed by his father. Then the relationship between Beethoven and the Mozart. There are speculation and inconclusive evidence that Beethoven ever met Mozart, let alone studied with him. It was an effort to facilitate him in the development music in 1787. The Palatine tradition say that Beethoven to Vienna, the cultural and musical capital of the Europe at the time, where we hope he studied with a Mozart. After hearing his mother say that pay attention to him, somebody he will give the world something to talk about. After that, a few weeks of fostering, Beethoven admitted that his mother was ill and he returned to home to Bonn. But while in Bonn, he always carved out his reputation at the city most talented court musician. Continue Beethoven's early career as the composer. When the Holy Roman Emperor Joseph II died in 1719, the 19 years old Beethoven received the great honor of composing a musical memorial in his honor. But for the reason Some hit heard the unclear Beethoven composing of the time was never performance, and must assume that the young musician proved incapable of the task. But after a century later, a researcher named Brahms discovered Beethoven had actually composed a beautiful and noble piece of music entitled Cantata on Death of Emperor Joseph II. Beethoven's debut performance garnered significant support from Provian Vienna aristocrats, who provided him with the lodging and funds. And in 1794, he decided to leave Cologne and made his public debut on March 29, 1795. There is a debate about the initial concept of the piano he played that night, but the most believed the performance was known as the Piano Concerto Number 1 in G major. Shortly afterward, he presented a series of three piano as his Opus 1, achieving critical and financial success. Moving on the early 19th century, on the second 1800, Beethoven premiered his Symphony Number 1 in C major at the Royal Imperial Theatre in Vienna. The reception was mixed, and Beethoven himself admitted, "At the time I didn't know how to compose." Despite the initial criticism, this work contributed to making Beethoven one of the most renowned composers in Europe. And as for Beethoven's deafness, during the composition of some his most enduring work, he struggled and eventually had to accept the bitter and shocking fact that he was becoming deaf. In a heart-wrenching letter for his friend Franz Wigler in 1801, Beethoven expressed, "For almost 2 years, I have cases that attend any social function, just because I find it's impossible to say people I am a deaf." Continuing to the Heiligenstadt Testament in 1802, Beethoven became a melancholic. It's a long and sad note known as the Heiligenstadt Testament, dated October 6, 1801. He expressed his despair and thought of suicide. Miraculously, despite his deafness, Beethoven continued to evolve rapidly and composed prolifically. Beethoven composed numerous iconic pieces such as Moonlight Sonata and like Erosina Symphony Number 3, Symphony Number 5, Für Alice of course, Symphony Number 7, Missa Solemnis, and many more. He passed away on March 26, 1827 at the age of 56 due to cure causes of the liver post-hepatitis. And through the theories suggested with positioning as the cause, modern analysts have discredited these claims. Widely considered of one the greatest composer, Beethoven's musical achievements, particularly during his deafness, stand as the testament to his creative genius, that transcend human limit. His legacy reveals the brilliance of the William Shakespeare's drama. In his final day, Beethoven, who was not eloquent in words like his music, concluded with a Latin phrase often used comedic of the time, like plaudit, amici, commedia finita, and all, and more than that. And he say, applaud my friend, the comedy is over. And I think what I want to know about him, and why he become a deaf, is already answered in this review that I read. And I really like the background when he debuted. Maybe that's all for me for the review some article, mm, for genius classic musical Ludwig van Beethoven. Yeah, that's all for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Bye bye.